Hey y'all, welcome back to the quest.
Hey.
Hey, today is episode 11
It
of
is.
Backcountry Couples.
Whoop, whoop.
So, this is a little intro for our first ever interviewed backcountry couples on location in Illinois that we did a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So anyways, we wanted to do a quick little intro for y'all because we did our setup. We had two camera angles for this interview. Was going to turn out awesome, but one of the cameras just didn't function quite properly. Luckily, the second camera angle turned out beautiful. So that's my fault. My apologies. Nevertheless, it's still a great interview. You're going to love it.
It's a fun interview. So we had the pleasure of interviewing Mark and Merri from Wanderlost Overland. It was 1 hour of 100% fun and laughs.
A ton.
It was a big giggle fest, but it was very exciting. So sit back, have fun and watch that. But in the meantime, if you love what you see, please consider subscribing to kuehlkuest on YouTube so you don't miss another episode of Backcountry Couples.
Hit that little bell. Hit that ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, do it for sure. And have fun. Join the chat. It's going to be live. You can ask lots of questions. And we look forward to seeing you there. All right, everybody. Cheers and have fun.
So today we have Mark and Merri from Wanderlost Overland from YouTube today.
We do. So they're on Backcountry Couples. What exciting!
Well, thanks for having us on.
You are
Thanks
welcome.
for coming us on.
Incredible.
Yeah.
We've been following you guys for a long time.
Yep. That's really cool. We and same thing. I mean, we obviously followed you guys, and I think what resonated with us about you two is that you're the real deal. You're real people doing real stuff.
Sometimes we're a little too
A
real.
little too real, which is fine. But that's good. But that's what it's all about. And it's the couple interaction is what, obviously attracted us to you. And what's happening right now, right? We're just having the couples out there and showing, the benefits and the impact of being a couple and doing stuff together.
Yeah, whether it's on adventure or whether they're putting stuff together or modifying this or modifying that.
Right.
They're doing it together.
Right. And then just a quick little, intro snippet. I mean, there was cars and camping and backpacking and canoeing and overlanding. So give us the quick little, 2-minute rundown on that.
On what we do? Or?
Yeah, kind of how it started and...
Well, we've been married
a long time.
a long time. Thank you. No, over 30 years. 34 years.
Wowzers.
And we started adventuring right away. I grew up in an adventurous family. We would go overlanding before it was even a thing. We had
cool.
we always had an old 3/4 ton Ford truck, and we had a homemade camper out of 1/4-inch plywood and 2x2s. My dad,
cool.
my uncle built on the back, and we'd travel all over the country and Canada, seeing the sights, and the remote sites the better, because my parents didn't want to spend money going to parks and stuff.
So you're not paying for it.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
so we did the more remote thing. So it just was natural when we got married. I married a city girl, so I had to convert her.
That sounds familiar.
And we've been doing it ever since we started out backpacking. We realized that we didn't like to carry heavy packs on our back. So then we got into canoe camping, traveled all over the country in Canada, doing that long canoe journeys all over the place, wherever we could find remote areas. And then as we got older, vehicle-based adventure travel became kind of a natural, a little bit more comfortable to sleep on a mattress this thick rather than one this thick, so... that's where we're at now.
Okay.
And whatever gets us outside and whatever we can do together.
Right.
I mean, it's been working. We haven't killed each other. So.
Right.
Yeah. That's a definite
35
plus.
years coming up. Is canoe tripping or expeditions in the future at all?
I hope
like on
so.
your radar again, kind of thing?
It's always been on the radar. This whole Wanderlost thing that we're doing now, the overlanding thing, is kind of really blown up. It's gotten way bigger than we ever expected.
Right.
And it's kind of taken over our lives, and we actually haven't been in a canoe in almost 2 years.
Wow.
Yes, and in fact, we just looked at them the other day, the ones behind the garage. We looked at the Royal X ones. We looked at the other day and said, oh man, we got to get these out. Look how
like
sun faded
lamenting
they are.
a little bit for them.
Yes, and
you know
then some
what I
of
mean?
the wood trim is starting to come off, so we need to do something like that.
A little TLCs in
a little
order.
restoration
Yes,
maybe.
but yeah, I think that canoe tripping is probably ingrained in us more than anything else.
Right.
Because we were so involved in it, and we've experienced things, canoe tripping, that you can't experience any other way, because the only way to get there is a canoe. We can't even take our Forerunner to these places.
Right.
The only way to get there is a canoe, and because it's like that, it's true wilderness. We believe. You know, a wilderness doesn't have to be designated a wilderness by some government body. It needs to be real. It needs to be wilderness because it is wilderness. Right. Not because somebody says it's wilderness.
Right, exactly.
You know? And yet,
untouched by man.
Yes, and we will, hopefully we'll do another trip soon.
Okay.
Do you guys prefer river travel or lake travel?
River,
Okay.
definitely. We've
And
done,
definitely in solo canoes.
yeah.
See, that shocks
why
me.
solo canoe?
Yeah.
So we don't argue. That's why we've been married for 34 years.
A little bit of separations. Nice.
Yeah, we
I don't know about that.
Yeah, we
really?
learned early on that
Okay.
tandem canoeing wasn't
Okay.
it wasn't working for us.
Okay.
So
We can now.
Now we can. Now
Right.
that we're more experienced
Right.
and we understand things better.
Right.
We can tandem
Okay.
really well. But you know,
Okay.
we prefer solo canoes, and we prefer solos because we're more independent that way.
Okay.
We're together but independent.
Sure.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah, together doing your own thing.
Yeah. And,
Sure.
You know, if somebody wants to go off that way, explore that bay, come back.
That's true.
You
I
know,
get
we can
that. But
do
you're
that.
still like each carrying a boat over a portage, each carrying a pack, each carrying paddles. Like
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah, you get a system down. We do the leapfrog method if it's a long one. Usually I'll carry the canoes and Merri will carry the packs.
Gotcha.
So we'll carry in a quarter mile, and then we'll come back, grab another one, go a half a mile.
Yep.
Come back that quarter mile, pick that one up, then go a half mile, and
Yep.
just do the leapfrog. And that kind of breaks things up. You can have a break without having stuff on your shoulders for
Yeah.
a while.
Right.
A long time, yeah. Get a
Instead of doing
little
the
bit
whole,
of, like you said, a break.
the whole 2 miles or
Right.
1 mile or something all
Yeah.
at once, and then
Get to the end, you're like going, oh
yes,
my
you're
God, why am I
miserable, and
killing
you
myself?
don't want to go back and
No.
get the other one.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
So when you do solo paddling, are you using kayak style paddles or actual
that's a good
traditional
question.
canoe paddles?
No, we
Like a
single
double
blade
Oh, single. Okay.
all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're traditionalists, man.
And do you always carry an extra paddle with you?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
For each canoe. Yeah.
Because you'd be surprised how many people don't. I was like, what?
Yeah, we always do. And another benefit of taking 2 solos is just in case something happens to
Right.
one of them, you
Right.
still have another boat to get you out or get you someplace,
Right.
or at least get you to,
That's actually a good safety
especially when you're
feature.
doing a river tripping, you can't land a float plane to
Right.
rescue you on a river, not
Typically,
easily.
yeah.
So having that extra canoe, you can get to a lake or something to where you can get some help.
Right. That's a good idea.
Great idea.
So we've canoed rivers and lakes. Where should we go? Like, what is a trip that we should do?
It really depends on what you're after. I would say, some of the best river tripping is in Canada, is
Okay.
in Ontario.
Okay.
And I would pick, you want you want to pick something where you can have a shuttle. If it's a river, you need a shuttle. So there's has
Right.
to be some sort of outfitter. Sometimes you can call up a small town near that river if there isn't an outfitter available.
Right.
You can call up like the post office in a small town where the river's. Call up post office, and the person there answers the phone, is going to probably know somebody that would drive your car for you, and give you a shuttle. I know it's a scary thing, but sometimes you just got to put trust in
Canadians
people.
are so nice. I
They
feel
were-
like it's just fine.
Yeah. And if they don't know somebody, they can put you in touch.
Right.
Like one time,
Or the bar.
Or the bar.
Or the
yeah.
bar.
When we were doing, we did the
Seriously.
Steel River up in on the north shore of Superior, and I can't remember the little town, but anyways, I call up this phone number I got. This is before internet. This was a long time ago. This is
Sure.
before you got
You're
a lot
dating
of
yourself.
I know it. Before there was a lot of information out there. Most of the information on rivers was through magazines, Kennewa magazine and Canoe and Kayak and such. And we got a phone number from someone, and it turns out that it was the bar, that was the restaurant, that was the post office,
That's
and,
the
bowling
best.
and the bowling
Oh
alley,
my
all
gosh.
under one roof.
Talk about your one-stop shop.
Yeah, it is,
Yes.
right?
And they and the lady that answered, oh yeah, I know who you need to talk to. So she transfers me down to the bar, and the bartender answers, and I explain it to him, and he says, yeah, you know what? I got the guy sitting right here, and the guy was sitting at the bar having a beer, and I talked to him, and we set it up, and yeah, it worked out perfect.
That's
That
the
is
best
true.
story. I love it.
That is really cool. Do you think overlanding is a hybrid then of like cars, like your passion you guys had for cars, and then the backcountry, like kind of putting the two together?
It is. Well, I'm doing all the talking.
Yeah.
Well, I started out with cars when I was
Right,
young,
right.
and then we got into the whole canoeing thing. So cars were gone out of my life, and mechanic work. So the coming back to working on vehicles and adding that travel into that, and the backcountry travel, that's a lot of fun for me now. How about you?
Oh, I agree. You like to talk, so
I
you're doing fine.
All right, this is big for you. So, what's the attraction for Toyotas? And are you Toyota like crazy? Like, is this your brand?
It is my brand.
I like that.
We have had Jeeps, and we currently have a Ford as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, we've had just about everything,
Right.
pickups and
But
every make and model.
Toyotas are so reliable. They retain their value. We never have issues with our Toyota.
Not really.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of aftermarket support for them.
Huge.
Yeah. And
Right.
and they're a really good platform. We prefer we've got both. We got a 4Runner and a Toyota FJ Cruiser. They both, the FJ Cruiser does a little bit better on more rougher terrain because it has a better approach and departure angle. But the
Shorter wheelbase,
a little
has a
bit
factor.
shorter wheelbase. The 4Runner though has more creature comforts in it
Yes,
and
it
more
does.
room inside.
Right, it's definitely bigger.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger, but it's still as capable, and it's still small enough to where we can maneuver around.
Okay.
Great, yeah.
So I know when we plan a trip, I am like a map girl. Like I like to get the paper out, like a paper map, and I'm just, I just gotta do it and see what looks right to me. And then John will do like more computer research, right? Because I don't like that kind of stuff so much. And then we kind of put the two together, like when we plan a trip. Is that how you approach it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Mark's a really big map guy.
Love a
so
map. Like
he
I'm
can
a
take us
planner.
out,
Yeah.
and he will spread them out on the floor in the
Yep.
wintertime
Yep.
and start planning the trip.
Right. So when you plan a trip, you say, I just want to go to, that's my end result. That's where I want to go. Now, what's the best way to get there? Or is it, do you already have the route in mind, and then the route takes you where you want to go?
It depends on, well, with the river tripping, it's basically a route because you can't really deviate too much from the route.
Right.
You have a start point and you have an end point,
Right.
and the river just connects the two. So this. Now with the overlanding thing, the vehicle travel, you can deviate from that path quite a bit by taking a different route up and around, or you can. And for getting information, I think it's really important to get information from a lot of different places.
Right.
Don't just trust one source of information.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
that's true
Yeah.
in anything.
In
yeah.
anything,
Well, that's
yeah,
true, too.
trust but verify.
Right, like
You know what I'm saying?
research.
Yes, yeah,
Right.
get it from other angles and different people, and different opinions, and then form your
That is
own
true.
form your
Like,
own opinion from
getting
that.
updated maps from the forestry and stuff
Well, I
like
was
that.
going to say
Yes.
that. Like,
not,
there's.
not using a map that was 5 years ago.
Yes.
Because the trail probably changed, or one's closed
Or
and
it's
another one's
closed or
open.
something. I think we came across that. So I think that's really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, that's really important with National Forest. You have to have the current motor vehicle usage map.
Right.
And they put it out once a year. And you're right, they do close down some trails and roads. And a lot of times they won't gate them off or put signs or anything. You're totally dependent on that official map.
Up-to-date
that
map.
you
Well,
can get.
that Avenza app helps as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, so there's Avenza, there's the Gaia,
Gaia.
and there's an
Onyx,
Onyx
yeah.
is another one. I feel like there's other ones kind of popping up or
There
whatever.
is. Right now there's kind of an explosion of software and apps
Like
for
options.
mapping. Yeah, it was Gaia for a long time. The National Forest Service uses Avenza. It's a free app to download, and you can get the motor vehicles usage maps through that. We use Gaia
Right.
pretty much exclusively for ours, because I don't want to have to try to learn too many
Oh my gosh.
platforms. I want to just stick with one and try to do my best
I know.
with it.
And the
you know.
ability of that app allows you to function without being online.
Yes.
It has a GPS
Yes.
Right.
unit, so it can pinpoint you where you're at, if long as you have a GPS device.
Yeah, as long as it has the GPS capability in it. It doesn't even have to be signed up for a plan or a cell plan or anything like that, as long as it, because that's what we use in our iPad. It's cell capable, but we don't have a plan, but it does have that GPS function in it, and that works just fine. You just download the map, the map of the area you're going to be traveling to that device, and
While
then
you're
you
on
don't-
Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, when at home and when you're planning, and then that's stored in the device.
Right.
And when you're out in the middle of nowhere, no service, anything, it's there.
Right. And then we were chatting earlier, because obviously we're here on this little, meet and greet, which is kind of fun, about kind of, you've planned the trip, but then there's these like little roadside attractions, or that 20 miles, like, off the beaten path. Like, do you look for those ahead of time?
Yes.
We do.
Yeah.
We like Atlas Obscura.
Gotta remember that.
So,
Got it.
yeah.
It's on film.
It'll show you all the different little sites along the way in every state.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's all over the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
And
Oh, Atlas, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, it gives all the weird stuff. Just weird, quirky kind of things that you can see
Off the
in
beaten
museums.
path
Yeah,
and-
off the beaten path kind of stuff, and that
I like
really
that.
breaks up a trip nice.
Yeah, it does, right? Well, and how about...
Funny roadside attraction.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And then do you still get that, like, thrill when you're, like, planning a trip? Because you're going to... got 8 days going this way, or 6 days, or whatever that's out, or whatever. Do you still get that? Oh my gosh, I'm anxious, I'm excited.
Oh, of course.
And then,
Every
you know what I
trip.
mean?
Every
Yeah.
trip.
Okay.
Oh yeah, a lot of times we'll, the night before, I don't sleep that well.
Right.
The night before.
Oh yeah, you're antsy, and it's like you're.
Yeah.
I was
Right?
thinking about it, like, okay, did I pack this? Did I pack that? Did I
Yeah.
pack this? And it's like, oh, okay.
And then I just want to get going, and we'll plan. Okay, we got to get out of the house at 6 o'clock. Well, we end up going earlier because I want to go. I'm up earlier. I want to go earlier. Let's go.
I always know, so I plan to be up at least
Oh
a half hour
my
earlier than what
gosh.
he said.
Interview's over. I'm about an hour after our time.
Take some notes there, Darren.
Oh man! But I get it. So so you're excited. That's awesome. And there is a thrill to it,
Oh, yeah.
I think
If
so
you're
too.
not thrilled about it, why are you
doing it? Well, that's true
You know?
too. But I feel like some people make it like a chore. Oh my god, I gotta get up and we're doing this trip and da 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 da. But it's supposed to be fun, right? And when it's
It
not
is,
fun,
and-
we shouldn't
and
be doing it.
if it seems
right?
like a chore, then you're doing something wrong. Change it up. Make it different the way you're
Agreed.
doing it.
Agreed.
Because if it's a chore, you're not going to want to do
Right.
it. Who wants
And then
to do
John
chores?
just said about, did I forget something? I know you guys are listers, like
Oh,
you're
we are.
gear
I have
list.
lists of
You know what I
lists.
mean? Yeah.
Heaven forbid I ever lose one.
Right. So I'm a lister too, and I agree. We have like a gear table, right, in a room, and we like lay everything out depending on what kind of trip that we're doing. And then we do our meal plan usually the week before, week ahead, depending on how far out and how long our trip is, obviously. So do your lists encompass like all that kind of stuff too,
Oh, absolutely.
like everything
I have
like
a list
that?
for that.
You have a list for the list.
And then I have a reference to my next list.
And I have
My
a
next
notebook
list.
in the bathroom. And I'll get up in the middle of the night, and if something is in my head, I'll
Yeah.
wate it out so that
we
I don't
don't
forget.
forget.
That
And
is
then
a
I
good
can go
idea.
back to sleep.
Because
That is
we
a
are
good
getting
idea.
a little older.
Right.
and-
But Mary, you're right. You're sleeping, all of a sudden your mind go, whatever. And you're like, oh crap, I don't want to forget that. That's a really good idea. Note to self. I got that. That's really
So when
good.
you guys are on your trips, do you like to know what's out there through on your not the destination, but the journey that takes you to your destination, or do you want that? Do you want to experience that wow factor of like experience it like not even knowing it was there kind of thing?
Both. I think that you need to have a balance there. We like the spontaneity and the surprise, but you have to have a plan, a rough plan. You can deviate from that plan, but you really do need a plan and a structure to keep things moving right, and to make sure you build into your plan escape routes, or if something, heaven forbid, should happen, you know there's a town 10 miles that way. You need to keep it, especially out west where emergency people aren't readily available like they are anywhere else in the U.S.
Is it because it's so vast out there, you mean?
Yeah, towns are so far,
Okay.
far between.
Right.
That you really need a plan. You need a plan, but you can deviate from that plan.
Okay.
So when you're traveling, do you have like, say you want to be at this destination at X amount of time? Do you give yourself like an extra hour, extra half hour to kind of like, since your name Wanderlost Overland, so like,
Wanderlost.
squirrel, you want to head that way kind of thing.
He definitely does, and sometimes he has too many plans planned into the plan,
I have
and
a
we
lot
have
of
to
options.
skip.
A lot of sub plans.
Yeah.
Yes,
and we have to
exactly.
skip things,
That
and I'll
helps.
be like, "Oh, I thought we were going here today. Oh, we don't have enough time."
No.
Yeah. I do.
He's an over planner.
Sometimes I do
overplanner.
overplan,
Okay.
and I'm trying to get away from that. To
Okay.
be honest with you,
Is your over planning addiction?
It is. It is. In fact, we'll do I'll have it down to half-hour increments. I mean,
Okay.
especially
Wow.
if we're doing like sometimes it takes us 2 days to get to a place.
Sure.
Or like interstate travel to get out west or out east or up north, and I'll have it down to the half hour. And Google Maps says we can make it there in 11 and a half hours. We're going to do it in 11. So pee in a bottle, whatever
Yeah, I was
you
just
got to
going to
do.
say, those pee breaks are short.
What are
We're
you gonna
trimming
do?
the time.
Yeah, we
man.
are beating Google
No
Map
more
time.
liquid.
But and like I said, I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to become more spontaneous, but
Right.
I do like to know what we need to do and what we need to
Right.
be doing to get.
And then on the opposite end of that, when you get done a trip, do you debrief after a trip? What did we forget? What did we bring too much of? How do we
Oh, yeah.
improve? How do we
Again,
improve
I
our
have
next
it-
trip?
Again, I have a
See?
notebook.
Yeah, we have a-
and I write
yeah.
things down.
Yeah.
As we're
And I
driving
write
home.
down ideas and
When you're driving
Yeah.
home, just right?
Yeah.
I feel like
Travel
that's a good
journal.
thing, like
Yep.
a little journal.
Yep.
No, that's really good.
Yeah, what we forgot, what we need, what we don't need.
What you
and
don't
that's
need.
another really important thing. A lot of people will focus on what do we need,
Right.
and they don't focus on enough of what we don't need. What we don't need to take up space in our vehicle or on our back.
Right. But you fine-tuned that like over the last
Yeah.
however many years, from like even like canoe camping to backpacking, whatever.
Constantly changing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and our way of doing things and our desire on ways of doing things change. So we'll take, like we go through phases where we really like good meals. So we'll take extra cooking equipment, extra food and stuff to
Right.
make that really great
he
meal.
always thinks I take too much.
And then
food.
there's other times when just a freeze-dried meal on a tortilla.
Sure.
That's fine.
Yeah, right.
That'll
Quick,
get us
easy,
through.
done, whatever. Absolutely.
Have you had any serious equipment failures on a trip? Broken axle, drive shaft,
Whoa.
electrical
On a
issues?
vehicle?
Any component.
On a vehicle, well,
There usually are mistakes.
yeah, it's not
Okay.
the equipment's fault, it's our fault.
Operator
Like
error.
a
Operator error.
rear panel.
Yeah,
or
we've
the
smashed some
window.
fenders, taken out
Ooh.
a window,
Yeah.
and yeah, don't look at it too close because
Right.
you'll see all the dents
Yeah, right.
and
All
scratches.
the okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other equipment, zippers. Oh my God, zippers suck. I don't understand why they can't make a zipper that does not snag
Right.
with the nylon as
Right.
you're closing up the door,
Right.
or one that
That's
won't
actually
pull
funny.
apart that you're trying to fight. And Yeah, zippers are the bane of my existence.
Oh my god.
I hate zippers. If it could all be Velcro or snaps, that'd
Oh,
be fun.
but zipper seal. But that's true too. That's true.
What's your most important equipment to take, whether it be safety, any component on a trip?
Equipment, a hard kind of equipment. I want to first say the most important thing you can take on a trip is what's up here. Because you can have all the fancy equipment and all the tools in the world, but if you don't know how to use it or how to stay safe using that,
I agreed.
you know. But otherwise, I'm sorry for deviating from your.
Yeah.
What's your answer? Most important. What's the most important thing that we take on a trip that you can't imagine not having?
Like you take a GPS, right? Like a SOS kind of. What are those things called?
The spot?
Yeah, like a yeah.
We do now. We
Yeah.
never used to.
Yeah.
We started without before cell phones.
Right.
And way before satellite phones.
Yeah.
And I remember one trip up in Canada. I'm sorry, I'm hogging the conversation. I'll give you time. But one of our trips in Ontario, this is before satellite phones, the outfitter who was flying us in and dropping us off, they felt more comfortable if we took a flare gun with us, just in case. So, and that was our first emergency kind of safety kind of equipment we ever took. We never used it, but thank goodness.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah, you are.
My little guilty pleasure that I take with me
Yeah.
is a pillow. I have to have a
Yes.
pillow.
Okay, I like
Okay.
I have a
that.
pillow to get a good night's sleep.
Okay, and it's a full-size pillow.
It's a full-size pillow.
Good for you. That's good. Not like a little blow-up backpacking pillow or anything like that. You know?
If we go out in the canoe, I have
Sure.
to take the little
Yeah.
pillow. but
Right.
Sometimes I have something to put my head on.
You know, I think that the one thing that we always wanted, that we always felt was really important, no matter if it was canoe tripping or the overlanding thing, is having a nice, comfortable spot to sleep. You know,
Right.
you can be wet and miserable and tired all day long, bugs all over, but as long as you have that nice, comfortable, dry tent, no bugs, a mattress to sleep on,
Yep.
comfortable, that's all you need.
Yeah.
And
Takes all the day's woes away,
yes,
kind
it
of thing,
does.
right?
Yes.
Do you leave your itinerary with your daughter or somebody else in
We
case
do.
of emergency?
Yeah, yes, yeah. We always used to leave it with my parents, and then they passed away. Now we make our daughter be responsible for
Right.
us.
We're the old folks now.
Got that. So you mentioned in a video the Labrador Highway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is this a trip you're gonna try and plan on doing when the borders open up? Maybe
We're already planning it.
it's already planned.
It's
in the works.
It's in the works.
Okay.
Yeah, I know exactly what route, where we're going and what sites we want to see,
Okay.
and roughly how, the logistics of how long, the kind of mileage you need to make, and the time wise and that. Yeah, that's.
Are you gonna do a loop?
It'll be a loop.
Okay.
We'll be going, and I don't know. We'll be going north through Quebec, straight north.
Yeah.
And then to, I think it's Labrador City,
Mm-hmm.
and then you turn straight east, and go all the way to the coast,
Amazing.
the North Atlantic.
Yeah.
And I really want to see that, and I want to see that part of Labrador and northern Quebec. You can see it on Google Maps, but I want to see it.
His eyes just right.
I want to
He's like,
see
I gotta
it.
get there.
Because I've always wanted to canoe up there.
Right.
Because I've seen a lot of pictures and that of friends canoeing up there. So we're going to do a road trip through there, over
Okay.
to the Atlantic, and then come down the coast. I want to see the Viking settlements over there.
Okay.
That they have the
Yeah.
museum thing there. I want to see that, and taking the ferry across to I don't know my Canadian
Yeah, like
provinces.
Prince Edward Island.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then eventually make it to Maine, and then
back down
home.
again.
Yeah.
That's really. And what about Canada options for? That's gonna be overlanding though, right? So you're gonna have like an
Yeah.
overlanding. It's like, just like a road trip.
It'll be overlanding.
Yeah, okay.
Camping out of the vehicle. Yeah.
Notice he put Maine in there. That's for me specifically
Oh,
because I like
tell us.
I like
The
the seafood.
lobster.
I like to have my
The
lobster.
lobster.
Lobster on the
Oh,
coast. Mm.
fancy stuff
she
happening.
fancy. She
Yeah,
fancy.
you are.
Nothing like a fresh lobster and
Oh, it's
be
nice.
20 feet away from the water.
Yep.
Right?
It tastes a lot different than here in the Midwest.
So you've traveled
Yeah.
to like lots of different states, like a ton of states. I mean, it's hard to pick one.
Who's
right?
the driver?
Me primarily, because she makes me nervous.
I'm an aggressive driver.
She is. She's very
Oh, you
aggressive.
drive like in
But wait a
Chicago.
minute.
It's like, ooh,
But are you like the road driver and then off-road driver, or
She probably drives more off-road,
Off-road,
than,
okay.
Than on-road.
okay?
okay. And wife is that?
Because I'm the cameraman. And she does great off-road. And she doesn't make me nervous at all when we're off-road. And we'll be
'Cause we're
rock
going
crawling and
slow.
everything. Yeah, she's going slow and she's not right on somebody's bumper.
Oh, she,
That's not true.
Yeah, but she does great off-road. On-road, I'm nervous.
you're nervous.
Yeah.
You don't like being a passenger.
I cannot
I
sleep
think
in the
he-
passenger
yeah,
seat
he's-
when she
No,
drives.
no. But you like the challenge then of like the off-road kind of
sure.
course and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's fun. What are your thoughts on Michigan? Because that's where we're from.
Michigan is a wonderful state,
Yeah.
especially UP, and all of Michigan is great. Especially in the lower, I love the pine and the rivers around the pine up in the northern area. The UP is, of course,
The UP.
The UP, yeah. It's what northern Wisconsin wished it was.
Right.
Well, what is
Like that.
Well, I was gonna say we were talking with Cindy, and Cindy called it
yeah, speaking of-
Wisconsin's.
Got that, Cindy?
Yeah, this is for you.
Sorry,
She
Cindy.
called it Wisconsin's hat.
Yes.
Or so, and I was like, what is that?
It's not a hat. It's more like a faux.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but yeah, it is. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like
It
there's
is.
Anytime we
We've
get
spent a
across
lot
the
of
bridge,
time.
it's like
yeah.
it's just like you like
Yeah. Yes.
because
I
it's
agree.
all woods up there.
All right. So how about this? What benefits do you think you have or there is for being like a backcountry couple? Like doing things outside together, learning, improving, benefits. Just, like you're together all the time. Like when you're out there, right? It's you two. Yeah.
Right. Well, I just feel like it's good to spend all that time together and get to know each other and hang out. And I mean, that's why we're married.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we
Awesome.
want to be together.
Yeah. And I think we have the same
Philosophy.
the same philosophy and the same schedule.
Right.
And the same desires of what we want to see, what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
We very, very rarely ever go with other people
Right.
because we don't like to. We're very selfish. We don't like to deviate from our own plan.
Right.
Because we like to get up early, get moving, and travel and experience stuff all day long. We're not about the camp life so much.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We're about the adventuring and seeing and doing stuff. And other people aren't, and that's cool.
Right.
But yeah,
It is-
and I know that we can depend on each other.
Right.
We both have a considerable amount of first aid training, and we know our gear. And what's really nice is when we go to set up camp, we don't even have to talk to each other. We just know what we have to do individually.
Right.
And it just gets done, and it gets done fast.
Like we have camp chores, not chores, but you know what I mean?
Just
Yeah, everybody has
responsibilities.
certain things that you
Yeah.
do, and before you know it's like, oh, camp's ready.
Yep.
Yeah.
Time for camp juice.
Yeah.
What is your camp juice of choice?
It depends. What's yours?
It's always wine. That's
Wine.
my first choice. But if we're out in the canoe, I mean, we'll take like rum or something,
Right.
and
Yep.
maybe some lemonade or Kool-Aid
Yeah.
or whatever, and just to flavor the water.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got it right. Yeah.
Yeah, when we're canoe camping, of course we don't take coolers, and,
Right.
so we can't take beers, and a lot of places you can't take cans.
Right.
So we kind of have a drink of choice that packs the most for the punch. The most bang
You
for the
get,
buck.
you get more bang for the buck. Yeah.
Yes.
No, we went to yours.
So
for
martinis
sure.
are great.
Oh yeah, they are.
We did apple teenies one
Yeah,
trip.
and rum
We've
and
done,
Kool-Aid.
that's
out in
fun.
Utah, because it's so refreshing, we had mojitos.
Oh my
And
gosh, I love it.
Since we have the fridge freezer,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have
when
a
we're
little
overlanding,
blender
we can
that
splurge a little bit
a
more.
little blender that works with USB. It's just little, and we've made mojitos with fresh mint.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
on the list.
That
I
was
like
good.
that.
It was like 103 degrees that day.
Oh,
so
And,
refreshing.
Yeah, we sat
and well
underneath the tarp
deserved,
and
I'm sure, right?
Wow.
You know what I mean?
They were good.
That's
you
funny.
sit in the middle of Moab and hear this.
That's Mary in her blender.
It's like,
Someone's
next thing
making
you know, someone
drinks.
looks over, we see these little tiki bars.
Oh,
was
that's a good idea
kind of.
too. I know, but it's true. Like same thing when we go, like backpacking or camping, we always bring like a platypus of
A little bladder. Yeah.
tequila. Usually
That's
is
usually
our
ours.
like
That's ours.
thing.
That's how we met tequila.
Oh.
Yeah.
It'll kill you.
Yeah.
Oh, now we sound like
I love. What
alcoholics.
about what about weather? Crazy weather. Like, I mean, obviously,
It beats sitting in the office.
Agreed. Right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you have gear for every weather, right? You've got
Yeah.
winter stuffing. I mean, I've got my raincoat on because it was, kind of chilly and sprinkling early or whatever. But yeah, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Right.
It's just part of the thing, and if once you can't hide from it, and you can't allow yourself to make plans around the weather.
Okay.
Because the weather, you're not going to change it, and I find that bad weather is kind of fun. In kind of a scary, exhilarating kind of way. We've been through tornadoes out in the Black Hills. We had to make an emergency escape from up high to down low to go away from tornadoes.
Wow.
And hailstorms, nasty hailstorms. We get damn Canada.
What is
and their
going
hail.
on?
Yeah, we were on
It makes for good memories.
Right.
So you have to embrace the weather.
we were
Right.
on
Wow.
the upper Atasquin River in Ontario, and it was a beautiful day. And I just happened to look back. We're out in the middle of a lake. Happened to look back, and it's just black coming at us.
Gosh.
And it came on us so fast, and all of a sudden, the hail, about this big around, starts nailing us. And we were sitting
Ouch.
on these
Well, yeah.
those foam seats on our canoe seats. So we pulled them, put them over our heads, and we tried to get to shore to get some. And there was a big uprooted tree, where the roots are up like this, and we hid behind that to try to
Oh
shelter
my
us a little
gosh.
bit. And it lasted like 20 minutes, and then it was gone, bright sunny again.
Wow.
But it's things like that make things more exciting. If everything
Sure, you
went
can't
well,
make that up.
Right.
yeah, who would
Right.
want to do it?
Agreed.
Well,
Agreed.
you wouldn't
fun.
remember it either, and you wouldn't talk about it later.
Well, that's
It's
true.
like, oh, we just had another beautiful day on the lake, and no
Yeah,
big deal. But
yeah,
no,
how
if you
boring.
had like 20-mile-an-hour winds and marble-sized hail coming
Yeah.
down at you, and you felt like you were in a machine gun alley, and it makes for a little more excitement.
Right.
You've accomplished something.
Yeah.
That is true.
So, what's been your most memorable trip? Longest
gosh.
trip? The one that you've probably done and would in a heartbeat do it again without batting an eye.
Oh, do it again?
Ooh.
That changes things. I had one in mind.
That's like a two-parter.
Yeah,
almost.
I had one in mind, and
Memorable, and then
you
do it
said
again.
do it again, and I would never do this one again.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
The most memorable one that I don't want to do again was Canada again. Thank you,
No way.
Canada.
No way.
It was the Serpent Barrens trip that we did, and very, very few people do it, and there's reasons why.
Is it Ontario?
It's in Ontario.
Okay.
This is out of Red Lake, up north and a little east of Red Lake, Ontario. And it was grueling. We had to go from one watershed to another, long portage in between, and the portages were virtually non-existent. And a tornado went through
Oh my-
a
we
year
are
up
not hanging out
previous,
with you.
So it was grueling.
Oh, that sounds like a heavy slog.
A
Yeah, it
lot
was-
of down trees.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
paddling
gosh.
upstream for a couple days when we first started, and then the satellite phone that we used to contact our shuttle to come and get us,
Satellite
that
phone.
gave out, and the place where they were supposed to be picking us up, that road was non-existent, and yeah, it was. We ended up having the woodland firefighters come out and rescuing us.
Holy moly.
Because the outfitter couldn't get to us.
The outfitter couldn't get to it, and the outfitter was the one that screwed up, so we didn't have to pay for the rescue or anything, thank goodness.
Okay.
And yeah, it was...
Right. I know.
Or we would still be out there
Yeah.
trying
Yeah,
to find
trying
our
to
way
find-
back.
Find our way home.
Yeah, because our topo maps, we had topo maps all the way up to where we were planning on taking out, and beyond that, we didn't have any kind of clue. I've seen it on other maps, but I didn't have a map in my hand to tell us where to go, so we would have been in big trouble.
That's a
Wow.
pretty
If we
memorable
didn't-
trip for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to do that again.
No.
No, it was. I think we did that. That was 8 days. We were planning on 10 days.
Whoa.
but we did it in 8, paddling and portaging for over 12 hours each day because the bugs were so bad. Black flies and the mosquitoes were so horrendous. When we first got to Red Lake, we get out of the truck and the bugs are really bad. And I'm thinking, oh man, we must be near some boggy area or something.
Yeah.
And then we talked to the outfitter guy there, and he says, "Oh no, this is the worst the bugs have been for this. I've lived here all my life, and this is the worst they've ever been." And I'm like, "Oh great,
Come on.
this is something to look forward to."
Excuse me, do you have any bug shirts back there?
Oh, wow.
But those kind of trips stick in your head.
And my favorite trips, it's not even the destination necessarily. It's just being with Mark or our daughter and our grandson. It's just,
Very cool.
It is. And then that's what I was going to say about there's a surge of new people that are getting outside, right? Which is awesome that everyone wants to get out and be out, whatever. I don't want to call it like maybe being inclusive, like kids. So you are grandparents, you have a new little guy, which is fun. And how do you get kids out? Like, how do you introduce? You had your daughter and she was...
Well, we just made her. She didn't know any better.
And we took her from the time she was a baby.
Yeah,
and that's what we did with our grandson,
right.
too. He wasn't even a year old yet, and we took him out on a trip. And I think you just...
You start them early. Taking out a teenager for the first time,
right?
I would never want to do that,
right?
Because
there's already some backlash.
There's no cell service.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like she said with our daughter, as soon as she was a baby, she was sitting in the front of the canoe and
had a paddle,
and she just didn't know any better. She just thought it wasn't until she got into like 6th grade or junior high school, she came home one day and said, other families don't do this kind of stuff. And that's when we realized, okay, she's coming around to this. She's starting to understand that this ain't normal.
Right. But it is normal. That's the whole thing,
it should be. Yeah.
And it should be, yeah. And then your grandson.
There and get dirty.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I think your grandson would be the same way. Like you're taking him out, and and this is how you get water from the river or whatever that is. You know what I mean? I think that's.
Give a kid a rock and a stick, he's happy for the rest of the day.
Well,
that's
you are.
very true. It's like a kid in a cardboard box.
Yeah.
Or cats.
Yeah, or cats. Yeah, they'll throw the toy away and play with the cardboard box.
Yeah, and then you're good.
Oh yeah, refrigerator boxes, the best.
Oh, that could be anything.
Oh man, it's like Taj Mahal.
Yeah, it is. That's true. But the flip side of everybody getting out is, and we've noticed it, backpacking, canoeing, overlanding, whatever, is leave no trace.
Yeah.
It makes us crazy, like crazy. So there's leave no trace, but then there's tread lightly, which we had never heard about. Mm-hmm. So what is that?
Tread lightly is it's very similar to leave no trace.
Right.
The same kind of ethics. Only it's geared more towards motorized travel, vehicles, ATVs, even snowmobiles and all that, on leaving as little impact on the land as possible.
Right.
So like if there's a creek, a lot of people want to just plow through it and have the rooster tails for the nice pictures. But you don't want to do that. And we used to do that, and now we try not to.
Because
it's less of an impact on the...
You're disturbing that, and especially a stream is very sensitive, and you're driving through it and disturbing those ecosystems in the bed of that stream.
Hey! Oh, we got the honk!
Yeah, you're disturbing a lot of things, and that impact is going to be there even after you're gone. That impact you made, that's going to stay there for a while, and sometimes for a long time.
Right.
So the goal is to travel through an area and leave it so nobody even knows you were there.
Okay.
That's the best.
Right. So, but leave no trace. I mean, you can get like cards from like the DNR or whatever. Mm-hmm. Where do people find stuff about Tread Lightly though?
Basically, just their website is the best, and they have go to Tread Lightly, their website, and they have a course that will beginner's course.
Okay.
Yes, go through that, and it's all online, and you don't have to pay for it or anything, and it kind of opens up your eyes to what you're doing, and kind of give you that mindset of less disturbance the better, and leave it better for the people behind you.
Okay.
And maybe I did this in the past, but maybe this is something
I can learn from this. And I mean, we've all made mistakes in the
Sure,
past, and we've
right.
all done stupid things out in the woods.
Right.
That, now we know better.
Right.
And it's good that it'd be great if people just coming in would try to learn that and learn from our mistakes.
Right.
Before they make it themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Does anybody enforce it though? Like, does DNR or local sheriff or whatever go, hey?
When they can.
I don't know.
When they can. But remember, you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Who's going to see you? It's
Okay.
kind of one of those mindsets sometimes, I'm afraid. You just really have to
Be responsible.
be a responsible
Be
person.
responsible.
Yes.
Okay. I like that. So, what about tips for beginners then? So, hey, overlanding is really cool. I got this cool truck, and I want to get started, and I want to go to Utah, and I want to woohoo! What should I do?
Watch YouTube.
Watch YouTube. Yeah, watch our channel,
Right.
Wanderlost Overland.
Right.
So take your vehicle. Take your. Take your vehicle out and decide what you really want to do with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then determine what you need to be able to do those things.
Right.
Yeah, I think, like she said, the first thing you need is just get out there.
Right.
No matter what your vehicle. And one mistake that newcomers make is they think their vehicle needs to look like ours.
Sure.
Or, something that has the big tires, the lift, and the bumpers, and all the stuff on
Yeah.
it. You don't need it. You don't need invest in some tires. Invest in some all-terrain tires, and then get out and experience it, and then you'll see what you need. And there's a lot of different sub-genres of the overlanding thing. There's some that is just road travel, and that's overlanding. And there's to the other extreme is where you're totally off-grid and totally on your own, and you're crawling on rocks, and you're crushing fenders and
Breaking windows.
So in that case, you might want rock sliders, or you
Yes.
might want skid plates. But
Yeah.
when you're just overlanding, you don't need all that.
Start
stuff,
out.
so.
Okay.
First thing you got to do is get out there.
Right.
First thing you got to do
Right.
is get out there.
Right.
Never mind that you don't have all the fancy stuff.
Okay.
You don't even need a tent. If you can sleep in your vehicle, sleep in your vehicle.
So like people are so gear crazy.
They are.
Oh, yeah.
And-
Right?
Yes.
It's all
And,
about the wow factor.
Yes,
Right.
it's all about the Instagram pictures. Don't get me wrong. I like Instagram
Yeah,
pictures.
absolutely. But I mean,
Oh, follow us on Instagram.
right? Yeah, do that. but it's true. But you can sleep in your Ozark
Yeah.
Walmart tent
Yes,
and it's
absolutely.
fine. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like you don't need the $700 marmot, whatever.
You don't.
Right?
And until you make that commitment.
Sure,
And
right.
then once you realize, once you have decided that that's what you want to do,
Right.
and that's the kind of environment you're going to be camping in, then invest in gear. Once you made that commitment,
Yeah.
because gear ain't cheap,
Right.
and you're going to lose money if you try to sell it in the garage.
Yeah, you are.
So
yeah.
make the commitment. Know you're going to keep doing it, and then
Invest in quality
invest in
gear.
quality stuff. Buy the best you can afford,
Right.
especially with a tent.
Yeah.
And something that's going to keep you safe and warm and
Yeah.
dry.
Yep.
Invest in the
Your
best.
sleep system, like you said, a good
Yes,
night's sleep
good
is,
night's
what you
sleep
want to
is-
get out of it
yeah.
for sure. It's true. I agree.
And the same thing goes with your vehicle. Invest in good quality stuff, and there's a lot of stuff out there that you really don't need. So you need to decide for yourself. Don't let other people make that decision for you just because it's a pretty picture on Instagram.
Right.
Oh, by the way, again, follow us on Instagram, Facebook.
Do it. This is
But the Joneses, he's got that that $4,000 tent. I think
Yeah.
I need one of those.
You don't fall into that trap.
Oh,
But
Right.
no.
I like what you said about invest in what you can afford.
I agree.
Yeah.
At the time, and then as you develop more into your sport,
Yep.
if you can afford more,
Yep.
get something
Absolutely.
better. But
Upgrade
just keep
as you can.
upgrading. Don't think
Right.
you have to
We
start
just
at
bumped
the
into a
top.
couple over the 4th of July weekend. They got a tent, 2 sleeping bags, 2 camp chairs, a camp table, $100.
Yeah.
Nice.
But-
I was like,
And it was
that's
their-
an all-one setup.
Their first time camping, they're like, we just didn't want to. We wanted to try it, but we didn't want to, spend the
Simple,
money. And
yeah,
they
that's
were,
absolutely.
they
And
slept
and
great.
It
They
was,
were so
an easy up
cute.
too. You just,
Yeah.
you shaking.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
it
it was
is.
good.
Yeah.
And we were just like, they got the bug. We could just tell they're like, "Ooh, we like this." You know what I mean? So we're like,
That's
another one of the.
exciting.
It is
Yeah.
exciting for sure. What's your next trip?
Colorado, Utah.
Next 5 days from now, we head out to Utah.
Calm down.
Colorado. Yeah, we're gonna be doing. We're gonna pick up our daughter and grandson in Durango, Colorado.
Yep.
They're home there. Go to Moab, and then turn back east and bring the Rimrocker Trail back through Colorado to Montrose, Colorado. Then we're gonna go to the town of Ouray and do some day trips out of Ouray, the famous Alpine Loop.
Okay.
I'm gonna do Imogene Pass and a bunch of stuff there. Meeting some friends there.
That's exciting.
And doing some stuff.
That's
Is
awesome.
the planning all done?
Oh, yeah.
No. Well, it is and it isn't. For the most part. And this is one of those trips that I'm kind of lightening up a little bit more on and being a little bit more flexible. We do have to hit our marks for the evenings, but in between
Right. There's some flexibility.
there's some flexibility.
Right. And does the grandson have to make a little bit more of an hour this way or an hour this way kind of thing as far as like leeway time too?
He needs to get out more.
Right.
And he needs better naps when
There
we're
you
driving.
go. There you go.
Yeah, and he needs to eat more consistently.
Yeah.
Like he does at home. I think that's one thing, and we learned that early on. The first time we took him out with our daughter, we kind of disrupted his meal time and his nap time.
Okay.
And towards the end of the 5-day trip, he was starting to get a little ornery on us, and we don't want that to happen.
No,
again.
yep.
This last trip, he did really fairly well. We did interrupt his meal time a bit, but we can do better.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Awesome.
This has been fun.
Excellent.
Like super fun. Thanks for the meet and greet.
Hey,
First of all,
thanks
like,
for coming out.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
it
was
was
what is
awesome.
a 4.5 hour drive for us? But how fun is it like to meet, like we were saying earlier, like-minded people?
That's the best.
And-
That's usually when we take our trips, we like to be in seclusion, all about ourselves.
Right.
But boy, is it nice to come around people that
It
think
is.
the same way you do and understand what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
right. It's so true.
When talk to somebody like,
Yeah,
okay.
and they just don't get it or whatever.
Why
What is
do
he
you
talking
do
about?
that?
Yeah, right.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, we all get it.
But it's fun. And then like you guys are like us. You're real people doing real stuff, getting out there, you know, and sharing. Like you're sharing everything, which is so really fun, I think too.
I think that's a big part of it.
It
For a lot
is.
of us is sharing our experiences, because there's that second thrill you get from your trip.
Yeah.
You know, there's the initial thrill, and then there's the second thrill. This is what
This is what we did.
about.
That
You
is
gotta
so
do it yourself.
true. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
you wouldn't believe it unless you see it. And
That's
it's like,
right.
You check it out.
And that
it's
is
like,
true.
Yeah, some people can't do it, and some people, like, oh, I wouldn't think about doing it. And then they go see it, and they're like,
Wowzers.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
No,
Yep.
which is really cool.
mm-hmm.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We keep talking
We-
about
we
Instagram.
know that already.
Exactly,
Do you have a
right?
website?
We do not have a website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just too much.
That's
stuff.
just too much.
Yeah.
I know, it's hard to
It's
keep
hard
up.
enough with what we
Social
have.
media is a.
It is. It's
that's-
crazy.
That's a labor in itself.
It is.
is.
It is. And the
Yes,
tread
Miss
lightly
Insta
thing.
Queen.
Yeah, the tread lightly thing. I didn't know that much about it, to be honest with you. So I'm going to totally check it out.
Yeah,
and,
check out the
Definitely go
website.
and I
on.
feel like we want to be advocates of this too. So I don't know what that looks like,
That would
but
totally tie inside with
definitely. Like Keep Nature
Nature
Wild or
Wild.
something like that. Yeah.
We do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that everybody who is into the motorsports outdoors
Yeah.
should at least look into it and take that little quiz that I mentioned.
Yep.
And that'll kind of open your eyes
100%, we're going to do that.
what your focus should be on when you're out there, to try to keep things nice and pristine.
Yep.
For not only us, but for future generations.
People behind us, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then at events, they have
They have some training at
Some
some
training.
events. Yeah, if you go to an overland event or an outdoor event,
Okay.
Tread Lightly will have a booth there sometimes.
Okay.
And there's Tread Lightly trainers all over
Okay.
the U.S. And yeah, go to Tread Lightly's website, and
I'm
they
going
have
to.
I think they have a map where they have pinpoints where you can find a trainer in your area.
Okay.
And if you have like a club or a group of friends or something
Yeah.
that you want to educate or
Yeah.
educate yourself,
Mm-hmm.
get a hold of these trainers, have them come out to your house or out to a park or something, sit down, and they can go through the stuff with you and
That's not a bad idea
No,
for a meetup.
it
Just have them
is.
pop in and say, hey, you
I
know.
feel like it's really great. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
And one really cool thing that I really like about that program is the trainers, they focus part of their attention on how do you approach, if you see somebody doing something wrong and you know they're doing something wrong, they're destroying something or making an impact they shouldn't, they teach you how to approach those people in a proper way,
Right.
to not be
A jerk.
yeah, thank you.
I'll use the short version
you
of that
almost
word.
needed a bleep there, but instead of being a jerk and not getting your point across and
Right.
probably making it even worse, a way to talk to these people to convince them, and one of the good ways to do that is tell people that we used to do the same thing until we learned that this happens and this can
That's
happen.
actually good.
Yeah, instead of
They
being
have
a
a
jerk.
really good
That's
approach
that's
to
really good to know.
educating.
Yeah.
I like that a
Yeah.
lot. That's awesome. You guys have been fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Thanks so
feel
much
like it was
for-
a giggle fest though. What?
Well,
Awesome.
again, thank you so much for coming on our
Hey.
Program today. It's
Thanks for
been
having
awesome.
Yeah,
us.
thanks
You've
for
got
having
it.
me.
Beautiful
You're
setting.
welcome.
I mean, check out this awesome backdrop.
Yeah, right? There we go.
This is the glamper.
Yeah.
The glamper.
The adventure trailer.
Hiawatha Mobile Homes.
Hey, it's from Michigan, honey.
Michigan.
There you
Michigan.
go.
1963.
Oh gosh,
Ooh.
that's awesome.
This doesn't
So
come out very often.
So retro.
Awesome.
Well, hey, y'all. Thanks so much for enjoying Backcountry Couples today, and we'll see y'all on the next quest.
See ya.
We will.